Hello and welcome. I am Raziel. It is Halloween, of course. So let's talk about the demonic, which is scary and terrifying. And I've got to say, in war games, it can be done very well. Night Stalkers and Mantic are really good-looking models, and they have an interesting lore behind them. The Hex wouldn't really call it demonic. It's an extraterrestrial. It's not from Earth, and it's the only ones that are extra universal, or whatever you want to say, is the Order of the All Shard, and they're out to kill the Hex. But I've got to say, now, give Games Workshop the credit when it comes to lore, and they're doing it quite badly right now, is they've always managed to, well, they started when it was way back when, knew how to do the demonic and make them particularly terrifying. So when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, which one would be the most terrifying of all? I've said before, and I'll say it again, it's the subtlety and horror which makes it good. Something like the Bloodthirster, yeah, you'd probably be pissing your pants when you see it, but the death will be relatively quick. And when I say relatively quick, you probably won't even have time to blink before you're dead. So it's painless and quick, so not that terrifying. Whereas Laneige, you'll probably die from pleasure, and that's it. So you're going to die, but you're going to have a good time doing it. Nurgle is about disease, and he actually doesn't often kill people. It's more or less, he turns them into followers and fills them full of disease, but it also makes them immune to the pain of a disease. So you're going to be alive, you're going to be very ugly, worshipping Nurgle, but you're not going to be hurting. It's not going to hurt you at all. Now, when it comes to Zinch, this is completely different. This is why I would regard Zinch as the scariest Chaos God, the scariest one of them all, because he is an enigma wrapped in a puzzle tagged with a riddle. You know, he knows everything and he knows nothing. He can see all futures and he can see all pasts, and he's just this ambiguity at its finest. He just is that. And I'm just trying to find a more longer words to express what Zinch is. So, what makes him the scariest? First, it is the subtlety of it all. With the other gods, you know when they're worshipping them or when they've sold their soul to them. They will be either very aroused, they'll have lots of blood and very angry, or they'll be ill, they'll be diseased. You'll see these marks on these worshippers. However, with Zinch, well, he does do mutations a lot. A lot of his followers don't actually tend to be marked. They don't have these overbearing symbols, but they aren't worshipping him. You could never know a worship of Zinch from a normal Imperial Guardsman or an Imperium civilian, anything like that. He could corrupt one of the highest ranking officials and no one would know about it. It could be just part of his plan, which I always think is a bit of a narrative fault. It's this whole part of a plan and something happens later, and obviously that's somehow connected, though not really. And that's what makes this interesting. And that also increases paranoia. Imagine, you could have this one worship of Zinch, and he suddenly his friend becomes affluent and he basically gets it so all his friends are very happy and affluent, but he makes himself poor. He's got to keep hidden. He can't be spending out all this money and suddenly have this like Inquisitor looking at him. So he's there. All his friends are wealthy and happy. They don't know where their luck's coming from. And then the Inquisition starts looking at them. And at this time, the worship of Zinch could be building up this cult, this whole church to Zinch, but he won't be looked at because he's managed to surround himself with people who are suddenly coming into a lot of money or suddenly finding themselves very good at something. Or, they've just had this huge amount of luck that he's surrounded himself by, and so the Inquisition won't look at him. And that's so his cult can grow. And by the time the Inquisition might even start questioning him, it might be too late, and they manage to bring in a demon invasion. Because these demon invasions are usually done very subtly. they are the sort of demons which will give you what you want, but the price will always be exceedingly high. So there's the other part of it. So with the other three gods, it's pretty simple what you're going to get. You're going to get very strong, very tough, or, just very excitable. And very simple. With Zinch, you don't know what you're going to get. You might say, I want to be loaded, and you get all the money in the world, or you want power. And he said, all right, you'll get power. And then slowly but surely, he doesn't do anything. It's like, well, Zinch, I asked for power. He goes, I've given it to you. And this guy becomes a general. And he dies in a battle. But for some reason, the Imperium thinks how he died was worthy of martyrdom. And he becomes a saint. Not a living saint, a saint. They do exist in 40k. And they take his bones around. And all of a sudden, these corrupted bones, which have now got a considerable power within the Imperium, are corrupting more and more people. He got the power he asked for, but just not the way he wanted it, or the way he thought he would be getting it. And that's, again, one of the scariest elements of Zinch. You'll get what you want, but it's a monkey paw wish, basically. You'll get what you want, but the cost is going to be considerably high. So you can't even trust him. But then again, he may just give you exactly what you wanted. He might give you the power that you wanted. You wanted to be a governor of a high city, or a governor of a planet, I should say. He gives it to you exactly then. But then the cost will be, he could have someone else who he thinks is more important to start a revolution and get the governor pushed out of power. He get the one who wanted the power, obviously first, ends up being discovered as a worshipper of chaos, gets killed, and this new guy who started the revolution is the one who gets the power. So Zinch has the person he wants in power, but not necessarily how they want what they got, what they wanted. It's like plan upon plan. And I think the thing is, this can cause the level of paranoia and the distrust in the Imperium to such a degree. This is why you could get a lot of civil wars, because when it comes to scenes, you don't know who to trust. You don't know who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. You just know that Zinch exists and he is a villain and he is doing what he needs to do. And that it could be all because that means that can turn people on people. Even innocent civilians could start attacking each other because they might. Yeah, people forget that innocent civilians do actually know about chaos in 40k. If you read Malice, I think it is, one of the Eisenhorn books, it was a normal civilian who found the chaos numbers. So we know a rudimentary thing of chaos, basically chaos bad, and these are the ones. This is what you've got to kind of look out for. When you have to report to the Inquisition and stuff like that. And it's like I said, so it can cause someone might see a symbol that looks kind of odd. It might be a Dark Elder symbol painted on the wall on someone's house or hab block, whatever, and think it's Zinch. And all of a sudden, you've got this entire level of a hive on edge because the Inquisition's going to appear, or they might not call the Inquisition because they're worried that the Inquisition might kill them instead, or just wipe out the entire hab block, or because Zinch is so subtle. I do like subtle reading fear, and I like psychological fear more than anything else. Anyway, thank you very much for your views. I know I don't really do Games Workshop, but it is Halloween. I thought it might be worth throwing them a bone this once as a lore video, and I'll see you on the next one. I do have another sort of hot Halloween video for tomorrow, and I'll catch you then. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Anyway, as always, link to Wayland Games down below. And as always, there is, if you want to save money on your wargaming, and free delivery after £20. There is also Forbidden Planet, my merchandise, my comics, and there is, people want to know what's in my comics. It's Little Red Riding Hood going ham on some Lovecraftian cyborg werewolves. Bit of a horror one, so bits. And there is Skyforge, never forget Skyforge, and finally Patreon because business. Bye bye.